Hi, I'm Liz Parker Kuhn, Senior Editor, Candy Industry Magazine. Today we are talking to Joe Whinney, the co-founder and CEO of Magic Chocolate. Thanks for being here today with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's really nice to see you.
So we're talking about vegan candy today. Can you talk about what are some consumer trends in the vegan candy category?
Well, I mean, from my perspective, magic chocolate is not, uh, our goal is to create products that have the highest social and environmental impact possible. And so as a result, our products are all vegan. But that's not the primary goal to be vegan. It's more about the kind of impact that we can drive. And so vegan chocolate, from my perspective, is a very broad group of products. There's been products, obviously, just most dark chocolates these days are vegan as a result of the ingredient choices, and the trends that we're seeing are the same trends that we're seeing throughout the premium chocolate category. Consumers are looking for some nostalgia, some comfort, mouthfeel, texture, novelty is really important, and so we're not seeing anything in vegan chocolate that is different, a different trend than what we're seeing in the broader category today. We are seeing a lot of consumers appreciating products that are vegan, but it has to be an amazing eating experience for anyone to buy it, regardless of whether it's plant-based or not.
Okay, that makes sense. And then you just talked about this a little bit, but can you talk about like flavors, ingredients, nutrition profiles, buying consumption occasions, things like that?
Yeah, for sure. And so, there seems to be, we're seeing a really interesting trends happening, or two trends that have been building in the premium chocolate, natural chocolate categories over the last few years, where there's still a concern about added sugar and what kind of sugar. Glycemic index still matters to a lot of consumers, and so the choices that are being made for regarding alternative sugars still matter. And we're also seeing a lot of growth in indulgence. Mouthfeel, a wide range of inclusions, different types of filled bars. Obviously the Dubai phenomenon is still chugging. It's starting to slow down, it seems like, but it's unleashed something for consumers where they are looking for a more indulgent eating experience. And so we're seeing both of those trends happening simultaneously, and it's interesting. I think there's a lot of innovation coming out as a result, trying to match up those two consumer demands.
Okay. With Dubai, it's interesting because I just went to the NCAA State of the Industry conference a couple weeks
Hmm.
ago, and they had a lot of the companies will give samples, which is good and bad. I tend to
Right.
load up my suitcase, but at the same time, I feel like I'm seeing more Dubai, even more Dubai than a couple of years ago, which is I think people who hadn't jumped on the trend are jumping on it, which is kind of interesting.
Well, and I think for a lot of companies, there's definitely some potentially some capital investment, or finding co-packers, and for a brand, it can take several cycles to kind of catch up to something that hits really hard and fast. I think that what I think is really interesting about it is this idea of having a more indulgent center in chocolate, where it's not just a solid chocolate bar. We're launching, well, actually, it'll be in stores on April 1st, Truffle Bar line, which it's very indulgent in its mouthfeel. It has a very low melt point because of some of the nut butters that we're using. And it's not a traditional chocolate. It's not something that is in the category here. And we just won an award for best snacks at Expo West, which is a natural product industry show. And in large part because it's such a unique mouthfeel. It's very indulgent. And it's plant-based, but it has a melt point that is really satisfying. And there's some crunchy inclusions and raspberry centers. And it's just really, unique, and that's appealing. And I think it's because consumers are looking for a more, yeah, just a little more indulgence in their chocolate choices. And I think we all need a little bit of comfort these days, and that's what I attribute it to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's interesting too. My next question is similar to that. I was going to say, how does your company work to keep up with current consumer trends? So like indulgent mouthfeels, things like that.
Well, I mean, for us, because we have such a strong social environmental mission, we have almost a dual mandate. I mean, people will not buy our products if they're not delicious. And obviously, the chocolate category is so crowded. Just because we're doing something positive in the world, in our supply chain, with our employees or the communities that are our stakeholders, that's not really enough. It may be enough for someone to try it once, but not to pick it up a second time. And so that's why we've been working really hard on finding that indulgent experience, but using ingredients that everyone can feel really good about. And so we're working with a format now, and again, it's not a format that's been available in the US before, and it's flexible. It allows us to use a wide range of different types of inclusions and different flavors. But stay within that mandate of not only, really delicious and amazing and indulgent, very comforting in that way, but also to meet our very strict supply chain, targets. And so I think that's, we believe that we're with this new product line, we'll be carving out a niche that will allow us to expand into a lot of other flavors that are complementary with chocolate, because cocoa is really at the heart of everything we're doing.
Yep, that sounds good. I don't think I had this in my question list, but obviously you guys were owned by Dr. Bronner's. Did they originally come up with the brand, I believe? And then have you changed, my real question is, have you changed like the product formulations since that happened, or is it the same product?
No, it is when Dr. Bronner's wanted to get into chocolate, and they got into chocolate really as an activist move to support their palm farmers that are growing that they use in their soap. Their farmers were diversifying their agricultural systems. Cocoa, it was an important crop for the farmers, and they needed to find a premium market. So Dr. Bronner said, "Why don't we do a chocolate bar as a soap company?" And I've known the family and the company, and they asked me to help them put it together. I have a long history in the chocolate industry, and so we put together a supply chain, including Mastrani chocolate, which is a 174-year-old privately held Swiss chocolate maker, and we created the products with Dr. Bronner's and helped them launch the program. And after I was ready to step away, Dr. Bronner said, "Hey, we've taken it pretty far, but we really need to." They wanted to find a company that would really focus on chocolate and help this whole product line reach its potential and have the kind of farmer impact that was possible. And so Mastrani and I decided to take over the product line. And so Magic is a joint venture between myself and Mastrani Chocolate. And we all of the original chocolate bars made for Dr. Bronner's, all the formulas are exactly the same. The supply chain is exactly the same. Nutritional is everything. Nothing was changed, but we rebranded it. And as a nod to the to Dr. Bronner's, the brand is Magic Chocolate. And now we're launching, in addition to the chocolate bar line, a whole new line of products, truffle bars that are in very unique formats, and those are being launched right now.
Okay, that makes sense. And then we were talking about taste trends. How does your company keep your finger on the pulse of emerging consumer taste trends?
Well, there's a number of different ways. One is we are all very, very curious, and we have really great product development expertise here in Seattle, where we're based in the States and also in Switzerland. We follow all of the data. We look at what's happening, not just in chocolate, but in overall food trends, and just making sure that we stay in touch with, what our communities are looking for. And as I was saying earlier, comfort is such a big drive right now for shoppers. And you know, they're looking to exercise their values through impact, social, environmental, as I mentioned. But after that, it is about comfort, it's about novelty, it's about delight, which chocolate has always been that for a lot of consumers, but now they're looking to take it to the next level. So we look at general food trends throughout the food industry, and not so much in CPG, but really taking a look at what's happening more at the artisan level, whether it's chef innovations or other small artisan brands that are doing some interesting things that are really not available in grocery, and then just our own research and development. So we come at it from a variety of different angles.
Okay, that makes sense. And then have you seen any notable innovations in vegan candy recently?
Well, as I was saying before, it doesn't seem to diverge very much from the general trend. That where vegan um, has struggled or in this area of indulgent is around mouthfeel, because oftentimes there's different types of fats that have to be used that some consumers may not want or are they may not deliver the same kind of quality as dairy fat does. There's something very, satisfying about milk chocolate because it has a lower melt point than cocoa butter, and the mouthfeel is can be very very satisfying. And so that's where some of the struggles have been. And as some vegan or plant-based product lines have been veering into more indulgence, I think the biggest challenge they're having is, what are the fats that they're using to deliver the kind of experience that consumers are looking for? And that's part of we believe that we've been able to crack that code a little bit. I mean, we think our products are great, of course, but that's really where some of the challenges are. And the companies that are cracking that code on the fat are the ones who are starting to branch out in a variety of different flavors and unique ingredients. I've seen olive oil included in a lemon product. I mean, olive oil has an organoleptic profile similar to certain types of lemons, and they pair really well together. That's really interesting and exciting, and something that consumers, I think, are curious about. And we're seeing the same thing with inclusions. Crunch is always a big winner. And so part of the trend for vegan brands is also gluten-free. So there's a lot of gluten-free um, uh, um, baked inclusions that are coming online that I think are really exciting. So, it is trying to meet the indulgent need that everyone has, but do it in a way that meets that plant-based criteria that a lot of consumers have. And I think gluten-free is really just as important for a lot of consumers these days also.
Okay. And then my next question was going to be, do you have any recent or upcoming vegan candy to share? But you've talked about the new truffle bars coming out.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's interesting. We don't, vegan is not the what we lead with. It's really more of it's a byproduct of our values and how we are creating the products. And I can't wait for you to try them. I can't wait for everybody to try them. They're really special and they're different. And that mouthfeel, most people have no idea that it's not milk chocolate. We have a one product that is it looks like milk chocolate and tastes like milk chocolate in a lot of ways, but it's plant-based. And we just are trying to make really great products. We're not as focused on we have our values that we need to adhere to, but we're really focused on the quality of it. So, yeah, the truffle bar line, I would love for you to try it.
Sounds good. And then my last question for you is, what is your favorite magic chocolate flavor to enjoy?
Right now, well, we have a lot of samples in the office of the new truffle bar line, and I will say and they're layers, so visually they're very compelling. So it's one of the products. It's a thin dark chocolate layer, then a thicker raspberry cream layer, and then another dark chocolate layer. And the raspberry is my favorite right now because it has this very fresh raspberry flavor, and it's the sour, the slight sour of raspberry with the dark chocolate is just, I'm loving it. So that's my favorite right now. Of the dark chocolate, or I'm sorry, the chocolate bar line, the original line, the 70% salted is always my go-to. I just think it's really fantastic.
Those both sound good. Well, that is all
Yeah.
the time we have for today, but thanks again for being here with us.
Well, thanks for reaching out. Really happy to see you, Liz.